Dana and I talking about how important it is to get to the ring on time to keep a show moving along correctly. Before, so he really understood the concept that the problem for dressage rings is, and it's very important in Western dressage because I think we're not used to time frames. So
Mhm,
we're a new sport getting used to time frames.
mhm.
But you actually have to be, coming in the ring, if your ride's at 10 o'clock, I have to arrange to blow that whistle in a way that I pretty much get you in the ring very close to 10 or
Mhm,
10 o'clock and 45 seconds, not 10:01,
mhm.
because your ride is scheduled for this amount of time. And then I have a minute or a minute and a half only to write on your paper before the next horse comes in.
Mhm,
If you don't get to the ring on time and you hold up that ring, I lose my break.
mhm,
I have a 10-minute break in a couple of hours.
mhm.
And so if you cut into that to a couple of minutes, in order to keep that ring on time, I'll cut my break. But now you're dealing with a judge that didn't get a break and is exhausted. Not a good
Yeah.
idea.
Mm-mm.
But how about the problem of if I'm so exhausted that I need to take my break, then you have made that ring late all day long, and everybody else was planning their warm up for their time, and it
Mhm.
gets off.
Yeah.
So one person gets you off a couple minutes, and then another person gets you off a couple minutes, and then another person, and pretty soon you're 6 or 8 minutes off, and that's an entire ride.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Mhm. And then
So
you're there later, right? Everybody's there. It's a really long day then.
it's a really long day,
Mhm,
and everybody is all messed up because they planned their warm-up time to the time that it says on the paper. So
mhm.
what happens to most judges is that they keep cutting their breaks.
Mhm. Oh.
Well, we are required to be on the show grounds 30 minutes before we start. So if I have an 8 o'clock start on this ring behind me, then I'm here at 7:30 and
Mhm,
probably earlier than that because I'm reprimanded if I'm not here at 7:30, which means I'm here at 7:15
mhm,
because I can't be late. I absolutely can't be late. And I can't be sure that the rent-a-car won't break down or the GPS won't work or whatever. So you start out way too early and you're early. So you're there. And then I am generally scheduled a 10 or 12-minute break only in 2 or 3 hours between the beginning and lunch.
mhm,
Then lunch is 45 minutes period, or if the computer screws up, 42 or 43 minutes,
mhm.
which includes going to the restroom, maybe texting home and being sure your husband is still standing and the horses are still alive,
Yeah.
and eating, and that wherever you are, your ring is so far out that it was a 5 or 6 minute walk or whatever. So
Mhm,
if you think about it, there isn't much rest time there. You've
mhm,
got one more 10-minute break in the afternoon. Now comes the next part, which is really weird. If anything goes wrong in the office or with the steward. So let's say the steward needs to come talk to you about a competitor that went in the ring, and you maybe marked them out because they had for maybe some illegal equipment or something or other. And
mhm,
so they complain to the steward that you eliminate them because they have illegal equipment, and they're upset and they don't really understand the rules. So they complain to the steward, who is required to come and speak to you. And you're required to speak back to the steward and say, I'm really sorry, but blah, blah competitor had na on and it wasn't legal. You have to
mhm.
explain yourself. You have to have these conversations. Those occur on my breaks.
Okay.
Then you don't get your break because management's out there talking to you in the 10 minutes that you need to run to the restroom, or
Mhm.
because otherwise your ring's behind.
Yeah.
And, people are kind of like, oh, you guys have such a cushy job. You paid so much money. You get to sit there all day. And we're sitting there in the rain. We have snakes in the box.
Snakes in the box.
we we have we have bees.
Bees in
I
the
mean,
box.
we have bees all the time.
All the
We
time.
have
Yeah.
the boxes tend to be, I can't tell you, the boxes are filthy.
Yeah.
They're not clean. I can't
Mhm,
tell you. I take a towel from the hotel and clean the box so that the papers aren't a mess.
Yeah.
That's regular. It rains in, the wind's blowing, it's hot,
Hmm.
it's cold, we have no air conditioning. It goes
Yeah.
on and on and on and on. So if it looks like a cushy job, well, we're here not for the money. Believe me, we love all you guys. We love horses, we love Western dressage, we love dressage,
Hmm.
and we can't help ourselves. We love this sport because it's awful. And my husband laughs at me, but a lot of we have to dress in a certain way. We have a dress code for dressage and Western dressage. Judges have a very stiff dress code, and we're required to look really nice.
Hmm.
And the conditions are dirty.
Hmm.
They are filthy. Dust everywhere, dirt everywhere, mud like there's no tomorrow. It rains on our gorgeous hats. It's a nightmare to keep our clothes looking good. And you'll laugh that most of us, if we can possibly pull it off, a lot of us are shopping at the secondhand store, buying what looks like very expensive clothing secondhand, but it's because you sit down with a brandy new blouse and the scribe spills the coffee all over you first thing in the
Hmm.
morning, the very first day on your very first new blouse.
Yeah. So do
So
they ever let people go out of order though? If somebody is like running really behind, are they gonna let that next person go to catch the ring back up for you?
it isn't common, and
Okay.
there's a legal complication, and
Okay.
this is the legal complication. If you miss your time, you missed it. And theoretically, what happens is if you were supposed to ride at 10 o'clock and I just don't see you anywhere, and 10 o'clock comes, I look at my watch and I go, it's 10 o'clock, I ring the bell. If you don't appear within 45 seconds and I ring the bell again, you're eliminated.
Okay.
Now, let's say some weird thing happens where, um, maybe we had an interruption to the horse show for rain, thunderstorms. We have to stop because it was unsafe, maybe thunderstorms or something. And now we get a little weird about we're out of order because we had a natural problem like
Okay.
weather.
Hmm.
If we allow the competitors to go out of order, they still have to go within their class.
Okay.
So I can't let a training, like a basic level rider, take a slot of an intro level rider.
Hmm.
I could let the last intro rider move up,
Hmm.
but I can't take the next class, which might be basic.
Hmm.
Personally, as a judge, if you're at a schooling show, they allow us to do that because we're not under USEF rules. And we judge out of order all the time, and we judge out of order constantly in online competitions. If you're a
Hmm.
really experienced judge, this is not a big deal. It's nothing. And we're
Hmm.
always wanting to do this to catch up. And judges are usually going, please allow this, but USCF mostly doesn't allow it. And the stewards are like, you can't take them out of class order. They have to stay within a class. So if
Okay.
they jump up and take a space, um, you can't take someone from another class to take that space because you're not judging all intro and then all basic and whatever.
Okay.
So that's a
Yeah, that's
little technical
interesting.
problem.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So
Yeah,
that's,
it gets weird at the recognized shows that we have
yeah.
these odd rules they're there to try to make an even playing field, but sometimes when the weather is interfering, the playing field isn't level anyway because
Yeah.
you rode in the sun and 10 minutes later it's pouring rain.
Yeah.
The next poor woman is riding in drenching rain.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
not, there's no even, that's God. We can't help that. That
Yeah,
just
you can't
happened.
do
Like, what?
anything about that. So what I'm
No.
hearing is get to the ring on time for your judges. If you like the information we provided today, don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Also check out IdaNorrisDressage.com and Ida Norris Western Dressage on Facebook.